Hello, and welcome to another episode of Two Suitcase Engineers. Today's topic is going to be how to build a dashboard solution or an analytics solution using my own running data that I've collected through Garmin over the years. I've been a heavy user of Garmin products and Garmin watches to track all my fitness activities over the years, and I have all that data accumulated on Garmin Cloud. But one of the pitfalls of doing that is I'm stuck with ways of analyzing that information only on Garmin platform, which gives me some good flexibility and social interaction using the mobile apps that they provide as part of their service. But it doesn't give me the flexibility to do a lot of analysis and slicing and dicing of the data that I'm used to doing with my analytics background. I went about how to solve this problem and build my own solution, and here's an overview of how that solution looks like. For this, getting data out of Garmin is not easy. There is a way for you to just export that data out of Garmin using a CSV export, which you can do through the Garmin website. But then again, I think it doesn't give you a lot of details on the activities themselves, and it's not an automated feed that you can just build a solution off of. So I went ahead and took it a step further where I've connected my Garmin account or Garmin data to a product or a service called Strava. So think of Strava as Facebook for athletes. Strava is a good platform where a lot of athletes come and share and network and socialize. And also the biggest benefits with Strava is it also gives you the ability to export that data out using their APIs. Okay, so if you're wondering how this is going to be solution, so here's a good solution overview. So as I said, we're going to start with the data getting collected from my watch onto Garmin Cloud or the Garmin platform. From there on, I'm connecting that Garmin handle to Strava, and from Strava, I'm leveraging their APIs. And from their APIs, we're leveraging a direct connection through Power BI using one of the connectors where I'm able to pass on the access keys and authentication and paginate my requests through the Strava API service, which I think Prafula will go over in the solution overview next. This is a pretty much end-to-end high-level design. And again, I think this is today's episode is just part one of this series on how to build a solution, and we're gonna make these files available for everybody to download and consume. If you have a Strava account, if you have Garmin, if you have data sitting on Garmin, I would you should be able to leverage what we have built here and try it on top of your own data. And again, I think the way there is also another video that will really help you on how to leverage Strava APIs to get your access code or your secret key that you would need to connect your data on Strava. So we'll drop that link for that video in the description as well. So it's very helpful. Without that, I don't think you'll be able to make a connection to your data. That will be available in the description as well. So with that, now let's go into how the solution is built.
Thanks, Santosh. Hey, everyone, this is Prafula. Welcome back again. This is a two-part series of how you can extract data through an API or a pagination, an API which has a pagination, a REST API which has a multiple pages. That means you need to use a pagination to extract the data. Uh, Now, in this session, we will see how we are accessing a REST API, and then how we are looping it through the pagination, and how we are leveraging the other sources of data, like Santosh. He's a avid runner, so he got a lot of different data, like the different shoes which he used, and other sources like his resting heart rate and all the other data which can be used, which will be used in our next episode to show how we can perform analytics on that. So without any wait, let's go over the transform window. That's a favorite place of the favorite tab of mine in Power BI. So when we go into the transform data here, So where do we start? How do we start on getting any web API or REST API data? Okay, so here is what I started. So I click on the advanced editor. Some people may feel it is overwhelming to see the code in the advanced editor, but if you are a coding junkie, or like if you like code a lot, if you want to see what's happening behind the scene, like me, you will love it. If not, you can just apply steps and you can see the steps what's happening behind the scene also. So here, if you see, when you regularly get any data, all this the Power Query is not written by me. It automatically built by the Power BI when I provided the web URL, and automatically all these changes you can do through Power Query, and it will load you the data. So now what is the how do we do this pagination with Power BI? So if you see here, I have I'm connecting to the strava.com, and I'm providing a relative path, and I will tell you why I'm using a relative path. Relative path is used because now here we are using, when we are using a pagination, we need to send parameters. Like I need to send a parameter saying, okay, run this for page 1, run this for page 2, run this for page 3, right? So when we are sending a parameters as like page parameters in the source, it thinks it's a dynamic source query. So Power BI web will not be able to refresh when you are sending a dynamics data source. So that's why we need to use a relative path, so it can understand, okay, this is not a dynamic, and I can directly authenticate to the strava.com and then run the process, right? So we have created a function, and I said pageant as a text. As we are concatenating this to a URL, that URL is a text, so we need to make sure this is a text. And then I'm saying, okay, move that into a table when you run the function, and everything remaining will be the same as is. We are getting the JSON data, right? And once you have the URL, all these Power Query transformations, where most of them it will be done by done by Power BI itself, and then you can do any changes on top of it. So now it created a function, right? Like when we say page and as text as table, so it created a function here where you can enter a parameter and automatically it will loop in. So if I send a parameter as 1 here, and if I invoke this function, it will give me the first page of the API. The same way, if we send it 2, then it will give me the second page of the API. So now, and then we have so what I did, then the next part is to how do we loop this every single pages. So I know this one. So now we are in the activity table. So how I looped in these pagination, let's see. So here I just said list dot numbers of 1 to 10. That means I get ten numbers of list. So now you know why I'm using the list of 10 numbers, because I want to loop the pagination for 10 pages. And then I converted it to a table. And then what, and then we said, okay, this is a number, because this should be a text, right? If we need to loop in the page. And once we did it, then we invoked a custom function, right? So we said, okay, I have a function called as activity, right? So if you go to the settings of the function, I said, okay, you use, this is an activity function, use this activity function on the page. So for every page number, it will run the function. That means it will run that API call and stores the data in a table, right? So once we expand this table, we will get all the records, and then we can, all the paginated all the different pages will be loaded into our table here, right? So we can see now all the pages from 1 to 1 to 9, I think. Yeah, see, 1 to 7, all different pages we see here. And I have also removed the errors here. If you see why, because we when we invoke the function, even though we created 10 different pages, from page 8 we don't have any data, so that's why it shows an error. So then I said, okay, click on this one and this, and I told remove any errors from that column. So it removed all the errors from that column, and it said, okay, I only have valid 7 pages, and it exported all the 7 pages into a table. So this is how we have extracted a REST API which has multiple pages. We exported that multiple pages into a table. And then one of the best practices in Power BI or in any of the reporting solutions in IT is to create parameters. Everything needs to be parameterized. So let's say here, if you see, the token which we are using is not hard coded here. The token we are using is a parameter. So we are passing a parameter of a token here. I mean, this in this case, I'm using access token because with Strava, access token expires within a day or 2 days. So every time we run, we can just go ahead and place in the new access token. But in your use case, it may be a different case scenario where you want to use a different the environment of a database changes from lower environment to higher environment. For a development, you want to use a different database naming, and for the production, you want to use a different database naming. And any parameters can be accessed through an ampersand character. When you use an ampersand character, automatically the it will understand, okay, I need to look up for the parameters which are in the Power BI workbook, and then it will get those parameters will pull up in your code. Okay, so now we have all the activity data, and this is the shoes data uh, which like this is a normal CSV file which we exported, which we pulled this into our data model. It will show what is the latest shoe used, and what is the review of it, and the comfort of it. And we'll go into the details about this and about that in the next session to show how we can get insights out of this data. And then there's an activity master data, which is again which it the some part of this activity data doesn't have a resting heart rate and some other data points which we are looking. So we got in this other data from an export, and then we try to merge all these data points together and see insights out of this to see how we can leverage these insights uh, into an actionable outputs.
All right, thanks, Prafula. So I think in the next episode, we're going to have data visualization and surfacing insights from this data and how I'm planning to leverage this data to really train for an Ironman, which has been a goal of mine for a long time. So we'll come back with some really good visualizations and surfacing insights from this data. Until then, thank you.